How's it going, guys? DJ Neeks here, and welcome back to Total War Warhammer. I wasn't really sure I would come back to this, but I've been thinking about it, especially after messing around with the Mortal Empires expansion to Warhammer 2, and I realized that I did kind of want to, for cinematic purposes and story purposes, that even though I did show you guys the intros for the 4 big main ones that have these introduction battles and such, unfortunately, they don't carry over really to Mortal Empires, which is a shame. And so I've been thinking about it, and I kind of wanted to do ones for some of the other main factions. The Warriors of Chaos, the Beastmen, Norska, even the Wood Elves and Bretonia. So, we're going to be, in this episode, we're going to be taking a look, as you can see here, at the Warriors of Chaos. This is a pretty important faction in this game and in the Warhammer franchise, as this is kind of like that force that no matter who you're playing as, they will come for you to destroy you, and like you have to fight them off. In fact, they're going to be making some changes and tweaks to this aspect of the game in the Mortal Empires portion, which I'm very interested in seeing how they do that. But if you want to play as them, well, it's kind of interesting. It's a very unique way to play a roster, a faction. The Chaos Gods, Khorne, Sensik, Nurgle, and Slaanesh have many mortal worshippers in the far north. Archaon, the ever-chosen, that guy with the really cool-looking helmet. A Chaos Lord gathers his armies. Barbarous, bloody fighters accompanied by masses of mind-fraying creatures. Where they tread, nations quake in fear, convinced the end times are nigh. They are. Awaken the tribes. Restore fallen Norscan tribes to life as the pets of the Lords of Chaos. It's a, I basically just had them fight for me. Chaos corruption. Creeping insidious ruin that can spread within enemy territory, leading to public order issues and chaos rebellions. Powerful unit roster with armored infantry and monsters. This is one of the things that makes Chaos a very difficult faction to go up against. Let me see here if I can pull up the background here. As you can see here, we have 3 different lords to choose from. We have the faction leader, Archaon, the Ever-Chosen, with an awesome helmet and a really cool voice. Yeah, look at this guy. He's labeled as a wizard, but he is also a powerful melee fighter and leader, can use spells and the lore of fire. And as you can see, he has a sword and a shield, if it shows you. There you go. Look at this guy. Look at this guy! Awesome. Then we have also Kolek Sun Eater. Let's finish looking at Archaon, though. Leadership for Chaos Warrior units. Recruitment costs, Chaos Warrior units. Diplomatic relations with all factions. That's just kind of a general thing, really, though, for the faction. Archaon is the Ever-Chosen, the Lord of the End Times, the vessel through which the Dark Gods will unite their followers and turn the whole world into a realm of chaos. The man who was to become Archaon was once a devout Templar priest of Sigmar. Pure in heart and deed, the priest uncovered a set of heretical manuscripts transcribed by one of the acolytes of the infamous Necrodomo the Insane, a prophet who tore out his own eyes after having a vision of the destruction of the world at the hands of chaos. What Archaon learned from those texts is unknown, but legend has it that he uncovered a terrible truth which drove him into a screaming rage. Rejecting the gods of the Empire, he burned down the temple around him and raged amongst the flames. He renounced his own name and swore he would not only give himself body and soul to chaos, but also forge a new life as the scourge of the deluded fools who worship the Empire's false gods. He starts off with Chaos Warriors. Chaos Warriors with halberds, and Chosen with great weapons. Pretty sweet. Let me see here. I believe this gives the more... nope. Never mind. I was hoping it was going to give more on the faction itself. I don't... Nope, it does not. That's a shame. Kolek. He is a giant dragon ogre Shaggoth. A gigantic monster. Yep. Ambush defense chance. Recruitment cost for dragon ogre units and melee attack for dragon ogre Shaggoth units for all forces. Starts off with Chaos Warriors Halberds, and Dragon Ogres. Look at this guy. A giant monster. That's the lord you can choose to start with. And he is pretty strong. I did mess around choosing between one, either Kolek or Archaon. I actually ended up having more success starting off with Kolek early on. But the problem is that he has only one unique gear quest compared to Archaon, who has like 3 or 4. And it's much harder to start off a new army with a lord than it, you know, later on in the game than it is with whoever you start off with. So that's why I kind of struggle with it. Now I'll explain what I mean when we get into it. And then this guy, Prince Sigvald the Magnificent. A powerful melee fighter and leader, starts with a demagogue follower. And he is a duelist, though. He may not look much, but he can hold his own in a fight. Diplomatic relations with Norscan tribes. Leadership when fighting against humans. Armor for lords and heroes. Starts off with a Hell Cannon, Chosen, and Chosen Halberds. Not even going to bother with the background on this guy. I don't really care. So this is... We're going to start off with Archaon and check out this opening cinematic for the Warriors of Chaos.
The old world is weak. The mortal nations flounder in their own incessant and petty wars. Ignorant of what truly awaits in the north. I come before the mighty Archaon as a mere minion. For now, at least, the gods' favored champion chooses to hear my advice. I pray to the dark powers that I do not fail him. Despite such a risk, I urge my master that now is the time to march south. The Northmen grow restless. We must harness that and send the tribes in a great tide southwards to flood the old world. Archaon himself, chosen of the gods, will lead the hordes of chaos as we despoil the lands of men and dwarfs. No soul, no matter how blackened or pure, shall see salvation.
You see what I mean about the advisor? I love that no matter who you're choosing, he'll still, like, talk like he is completely in favor of whoever he's working for. He's like, the old world is weak. We'll rid this world of men and dwarves. Quite different compared to what he says when you choose either men or dwarves. And by the way, at this current point when I'm recording this, unfortunately, it feels like playing the Warriors of Chaos feels better in this first one than it does in 2 and Mortal Empires. They feel weaker. It feels like they took some things away from them, where it's not as fun to play as the Warriors of Chaos in Mortal Empires as it is in this first game. Not to mention that the Norska and Wintertooth are playable in this, whereas they still have not patched that into Mortal Empires, though I've heard they will soon. I just don't know how soon. But I've also heard that they also did a patch in the beta, I think I heard, where apparently they have buffed the Warriors of Chaos to make them much better. hopefully as good as they were in this one, if not better. Because I noticed there were some differences in how this faction works in Mortal Empires, which is a shame, because they felt weaker immediately. It just felt like, well, I'm not really feeling as strong or as having as much fun playing the Warriors of Chaos in Mortal Empires as I did in the previous game. There's also a late game event that happens that I felt like I was able to pull off, not necessarily easier, but I was more capable of winning it when I played through as Kolek than I did with Archaon. But I feel like I need to start with Archaon because I'm able to get him going faster when I pick him as my starting lord, as opposed to adding a new army with him as the lord later on, because it's harder to get them going. Well, I'll explain here in a moment once you see how exactly this faction works. Once it finishes loading here. We're not going to go too far into this. Just kind of want to give you guys an idea of what it's like when you start off.
You are the ever-chosen. The Chaos Gods call you to action, mighty champion. Their lust for ruin must be sated. You shall go into the lands of the mortals to spread fear and destruction. The Norse tribes to the west shall fall easily before you. Bind those willing to join your cause and slay the rest. Further to the south lie the nations of men. They will resist your advance, and for good reason. You will bring them annihilation, mighty lord. Devour the mortal souls to bring the favor of the Chaos Gods. March forth and spread oblivion in their name.
Alright. So, how they play, they are a horde faction. So here's how they work. Our main strength is the mobility of the infrastructure, but the high risk each battle poses means that it may also be your greatest weakness. The unruly marauder units that form the backbone of your armies early on suffer attrition through infighting when two are in close proximity to each other. But as your hordes become more developed, you can recruit higher tier Chaos Warriors who are not possessed of such a disorderly nature. As your forces traverse the world, raising the settlements in your path, you will often use the encampment stance to replenish your numbers. You may also head north to defeat the various Norse tribes situated among the mountains, awakening long-faded tribes to serve as loyal vassals, providing useful military support for the campaign ahead. So, you read that right. They are a horde faction. There is no settlements to manage here. It's all within here. This tab lets me see my army here, but this tab is for the buildings within here. So as you can see here, if I select this for tribal gathering, and you're seeing these numbers here, that's for the population surplus, and you'll see here, each of this will increase with every structure I fill in this slot here. So I'll start off by hitting that. I go into this encampment stance to be able to pull that off. And once I upgrade this, I'll be able to get that with the different population surplus. But this is what I'm talking about. You start off with this, with like 4 of these numbers here. Population surplus. Starting a new army is really hard to level this up because you are so reliant on your horde growth. But you need to be able to level these guys up in order to increase that. So we can start off here. You can see 2,500. But see, here's the thing. In this game, when you get this upgrade, it increases my casualty replenishment rate. In Mortal Empires, it doesn't. It does increase that. So you feel weaker. You feel like you have to do stuff not nearly as well or, as good as you could in this one. We only have 13 here, and as you can see, I can only recruit up to 2. But this the more I upgrade this, the more I'll be able to recruit. So, These guys are not that great, but we're gonna go ahead and grab a couple of those. I'm not gonna bother with the Warhounds. They are pretty weak. Alright. Now the thing, of course, because you're all about this one until you add more armies, you are going to be just doing that one thing and then end turn. You're going to be doing that a lot. It's just how it's going to end up being. Because you're not having to go check on other settlements and other things and upgrades and such. You're going to be making one move and then end turn. One move, end turn. One move, end turn. See? I can make an upgrade here. Upgrade. Select upgrade. May possibly do a recruit. Select a research upgrade. Recruitment costs, income, post-battle loot, raising settlements, post-battle loot. Let's do that one. So, my income, there's hardly any background income at all. What I'm mainly going to be getting in terms of an income is going to come from raiding and sacking settlements. And you'll see it. See? All I can do is just do that one thing, and now I have to end my turn. So you are going to go through the turn counter very, very, very fast when you're playing as the Warriors of Chaos. It's just how it's going to end up being. So, I now can get a Poison Warhound. I can get this guy. I can get this guy. And I'm going to have to wait another turn or so. But as you can see, I don't have any more money. So, I'm going to have to wait a couple turns here. And then we're going to have to try and get some money from raiding and sacking settlements. See, I chose that, and I already now have to just sit here and wait. That's all I can do is just sit and wait. Okay. May as well add one more. Let's go ahead and get that, the Marauder with great weapons. You can see here, my income is so small. Alright, so then, as you can see here, we have Encamp, Channeling, Raiding, March, None. Do that, because now we don't need to be in that. But here's the main thing that you have to get when you start off. You start off with Route Marcher, but then you have to immediately get this. Tribes of Chaos, because you have to increase your horde growth. Otherwise, you will never be able to increase or upgrade any of this stuff. So, let's go ahead and make our way over here. Huh. Alright, so we do have, like, these Skull Mountains. It's a little darker in this one than it is in the next game. In Mortal Empires, it's all bright and daytime and like, oh, it's wonderful. And I'll be like, what happened to the Chaos Wastelands from the first game? Okay. Alright, so according to this, we are going to completely annihilate them. But I do kind of want to show you how they look, what they look like. An easy battle like this gives us a good opportunity to do so. Be able to take a look at some of our stuff. Even though I've already done a video where I showed you how all the units in the army looks, sometimes just seeing them in action is just kind of, you know, a fun thing to do. As you can see, you know, there's really, like, these horsemen are like the only ranged units I have. Chaos are not about, you know, setting up in, you know, a defensive position with range in artillery like dwarves and such. They are very much just charge in and overwhelm with, you know, strong melee infantry, armored units. Look at the chaos spawn. Ugh, man. Go ahead and gamble, why not? There we go. As you can see here, look at these guys. Look at this. Look at these chaos spawn. Ugh. Hideous. Alright. Let's see, where is, there he is. There's the ever-chosen himself, Archaon. Look at that. The ground burns around him. The ground burns around his feet. His feet set the ground on fire. The ever-chosen burns the ground he walks on. Alright, let's go ahead and, set up everything into groups on my melee infantry guys here. We'll go ahead and have the horse guys, since they're like my only ranged. Those guys will also be kind of like the cavalry that charges in. Though they are pretty weak, so let's have these guys up here. Let's have these guys over here. And now we charge. We prepare to flank. They are reacting. So let's see, they have marauders, great weapons, spearmen, regular marauders, marauder hunters, spearmen, Ivar of the Iron Pelt. Back to the longships! Charge them! Go get them, Chaos Spawn. You guys go get these guys, and you guys now charge after them. Go get them, dogs! Look at this, we are already, like, overwhelming them. And already we have won. No, you do not get to run away. Everyone chase down the leader. All the warhounds, all the horse masters, chase him down. Here come my warhounds. Yes! Yes! Feast! Feast on them! They will not get away. Excellent. Feast on them! Yes! Feast! Feast, my hounds, feast! Alright, let's end the battle. So I hope you guys have an idea of how the Warriors of Chaos can function, both in battle and when it comes to infrastructure, economy. It's a tad bit easy in the early game here. You know, that was obviously a very easy one here, and it's going to give me the option to awaken this tribe. as the game goes on, it's obviously going to get much harder because everyone's out to get the Warriors of Chaos. And the fact that you can't have your armies to support each other, otherwise you suffer attrition, makes it very hard. See, here, so these are usually the options. You can either raise, which gives you casualty replenishment and horde growth. You can loot and raise. Now, keep in mind, in Mortal Empires, they took this away, where you can't just loot and raise. Now, you either have to choose between sacking or raising. And it just seems like very hard and difficult. I'm going to awaken the tribe because... hold on a second, let me show you guys. So, here. So, obviously there's hero units here. Oh, I can do this. Nice. We have different lords we can recruit. Chaos Sorcerers. Now, if we want to get the other 2 legendary lords... we have to awaken 4 Norskin tribes to get Prince Sigvald, which obviously I just awakened 1. So I just need to awaken 3 more and I'll get him. So getting him as your 2nd Legendary Lord is very easy. If you don't start off with Archaon and you want to unlock him, I believe it's sacrifice. Like, not a settlement, but in the open field, you'll get an option to sacrifice, which, you know, your captives. Do that 10 times, you don't unlock him. I think that's what it is. For Kolek, you have to construct the Dragon Ogre Gathering building. So, where is that? That is up here. So, you can wait until you have 6 surplus, or you can, you know, an 8,000, or you can wait, because obviously I need to do this, because that'll help. The more you upgrade this, as you can see here, you'll get more recruitment capacity, less upkeep for all your units, more chaos corruption, and more horde growth. So the more you upgrade this, the more growth you'll get, and the more faster you'll be able to upgrade and construct all these different buildings here. So that's kind of how it basically works. Got a point here. As I said, get Route Marcher and then get the horde growth immediately. That's like the first thing you have to get when you start off, so you can be able to have as much horde growth here to upgrade all the stuff as soon as you can. The more you can do that, the better you can, you know, upgrade your army, and the more you'll be able to stand a chance at some of the times where all these factions are going to all team up against you and try and overwhelm you with like 2 or 3 armies. And again, the fact that I can't have another army to support this one, otherwise the silver attrition, is extremely frustrating. But in the late game, as it said, some of the other Marauder units won't do that, and thus you'll be able to have a better chance once you have a better army. So that's basically how the Warriors of Chaos function, and we'll be taking a look at a different faction when we come back. Stay tuned.